Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new review in which we're going to talk about the M4190 Bulldog, which is, I want to remind you, one of the main rewards that you can get from the Twist Cup streams. I talked about the FCM, I talked about the Progetto, I didn't talk about the M4190 Bulldog, so here we go. Basically, for those of you already owning the RU251, the two tanks are pretty similar. The main difference being that the RU have a way better gun depression on the side of its hull, whereas the M4190 Bulldog will just stand at between 8 and 10 degrees, which is enough to work on pretty much every single terrain. The main advantage that this tank has over the RU, beside the fact that it has the premium status, is probably its alpha damage, because if you take a look at the gun, as you can see, you have 240 alpha damage, whereas on the RU you will only have around 125, so a 15 points of difference. Now, what is this tank capable of? As you can see, if you take a look at the statistics of the gun, it's pretty amazing. You have a really good gun dispersion, an excellent DPM for a light tank, so with this comes a good reload time. The average penetration is fine as well, with maybe it's a little bit underpowered when it comes to the regular one, but as soon as you load gold shells, you shouldn't struggle. But the main advantage of this tank is probably its 102 HE millimeter. That's what is great about it. With this tank, if you are on the sides or the rear of any single tanks you will encounter, just load HE and it will penetrate. And knowing that your HE have 310 alpha damage, trust me, you are going to be a nightmare to face if they don't know where you are and you manage to penetrate your HE shells. Now, for the rest of the tank, the turret is pretty fast. The tank overall is really fast. You will go around 70 kilometers per hour. With it comes an amazing turn rate, both on the turret and the hull. And of course, you don't have any armor because you are a light tank. Now, let's talk a little bit. I'm not going to go into the armor profile because on this tank it's literally useless. You will not bounce anything. You're made of paper. But one thing I want to talk about is probably the equipments, which is, in my opinion, the main subject about this tank. First, I go for the gun rammer, but you could also go for the calibrated shell. It really depends on your playstyle. I know personally that when I'm shooting with HE, I know where to aim, so I don't struggle too much for my HEs to penetrate. Therefore, I would rather go for the gun rammer, which will allow me to get more DPM, than getting the calibrated shell just to be able to penetrate a little bit more. Now here, I go for the gun rammer, but it all depends on you. If you feel comfortable and confident enough to not play it with the calibrated shell, go for the gun rammer. After I go for the enhanced gun laying drive to reduce my aiming speed, that I combine with the vertical stabilizer, because we're talking about a light tank, you are going to shoot a lot while moving, and the vertical stabilizer allows you to get more accuracy on the tank and turret during the movement. Now, for the vitality, I first go for the defense system because I'm not going to ram anybody, I'm a light tank. After I go for the improved assembly because I don't have any armor, so I don't have any uses of the enhanced armor thing. After I go for the toolbox because the repair track thing is less. Improved optics in order for me to increase my view range because you're a scout, you are supposed to spot for your team. Improved controls because the top speed is already great. With this tank, having the improved control allows you to circle better, in my opinion. When you are circling tanks like Lava, IS-6, etc., I feel like the improved control really makes a difference because every time you turn, the more time you take to turn, the more speed, the speed decreases. Therefore, if you use improved controls, you shouldn't struggle too much with this. And finally, I am consumable to use adrenaline for a longer period of time, as I only have 5.7 seconds of reload. Now, is the tank worth it before going into the replay? Honestly, yes, and you get it for free in the Twister Cup stream, so you better watch those streams. Now, concerning the playstyle, it's honestly not the hardest, but not the easiest either. What you want to do, at least at the beginning of the game, is spotting for your team, to try to give them some information about where the enemies are going for your team to be able to counter them by taking advanced or defensive positions. Here we go for the first spotted, the Shiri. Extremely lucky shot here between the two rocks. I honestly didn't thought that penetrate, didn't think that, but it did. So hey, sometimes we gotta be lucky. Now, what you want to do most of the time is going on hilly terrains and try to peekaboo from those positions. So if we combine what I said, you need a hilly position from which you can peekaboo. That allows you to be flexible with your gun depression. Unfortunately for you, with this tank you are extremely team dependent, or at least if you played like a regular scout, you are team dependent. And as you can see, half my team is camping on one side, the other half on the other side. It's literally not the best team I ever had. And therefore, when you have this kind of team, you need to switch another game mode. You need to switch the...
I'm definitely not a scout. I'm gonna smoke you all by camping like a goddamn retard.
And that's exactly what we're doing right now, because there is no way that I try to play aggressively with this tank. I'm already a one-shot and it's only 1.5 minutes into the game. And in this kind of situations, when your team is camping, just do the same. You have a huge advantage over them. You have a light camouflage, which means that you have the same camo regardless of if you're moving or staying at the same position, which makes you literally invisible for tanks like the M41. And that's why I'm able to just deliver all my shots on both the Shiri and the Hemil, on the Hemil using regular shells and on the Shiri using HE shells. We destroyed the guy completely, and now we only have to deal with the rest of them. And you're gonna see how strong the HE is on this shot there, because my shot went straight into the turret of the Emil, one of the most armored turret at tier 8, and I still managed to do 130 alpha damage. So nearly more than 1/3 of my overall alpha damage if I penetrated with HE. And in this kind of situations, like it's the case there, don't try to push. You are not... I mean, sometimes people are like, yeah, you're a scout, you should have definitely go in to spot or try to circle. That's bullshit, man. I'm 100 HP left. The fuck am I supposed to do? Literally nothing. So I'm not gonna try anything stupid by pushing through. I can try to circle a little bit, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now, because it seems like we finally have the advantage. But when you're playing with this tank, you must be self-aware. I'm circling to get some shots or in order for my team to be able to push on the other side, but I'm a one-shot and I'm not gonna stay here for too long. My goal is to sneak the first shot in and lucky shot. On that SU, really lucky shot, but I'm not gonna move forward here. I'm spotted, I know I'm spotted, and that's a light tank that has no armor and no points or HPs. I gotta go away, and that's what I did, because as you can see, the Revalorisé tried to get me. Luckily for me, I'm faster than him, so I go away, but the Rev decided that it was a good idea maybe to try to sneak a shot on me, or at least try to push on the other side. We sneaked the shot. The cool thing is, as the Revalorisé and the SU were focused on me, it allowed the rest of my team on the other side to literally push the SU, and now it's a cat and mouse game. Look at this. Revalorisé is like, hey, Police, get on the ground, let me kill you, but that's not how it works, unfortunately. Now, we're gonna focus on the Rev. We tried to sneak an HE, but I don't know why this one did not penetrate it here. I don't want to do any mistakes. I need to wait for my team to take shots. The T-44 goes in, and for a second here, I thought, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go in, and finally I was like, nah, you know what, I don't trust that team. They played like goddamn retards for the whole game. Nah. There is no way I'm gonna trust them. I'm gonna trust myself. I tried to get a shot in. Luckily for me, I managed to bounce that Revalorisé. Sometimes to do good games, you need to have some luck. And here we go. The M4 is trying to escape. That's a good play actually from him. That's exactly what I would have done. We're thinking another one straight into the gun mantlet, or I think it ricocheted maybe in its gun mantlet and after went straight into the hole, which allowed me to penetrate. And now I'm saying, T-44, please go in. Please go in, because, oh my gosh, like, you're a 2-shot or even 3-shot if he has low alpha damage. Why don't you go in, you know? So here, I'm just waiting for the T-44. I was expecting the M4 not to move from his position. Maybe he gave up and was like, yeah, I'm gonna kill the Bulldog before dying. But it seems like it's not the case. The Rev decided to go away, and as he decided to go away, I'm free to go. So here I go, switching to HE shells. As you all know, HE shells is the way to go when you have a low HP tank. I managed to sneak a shot on that little part of the Rev, which allows me to get my 4 kills and winning that game. We ended up at 3.8k damage, first class. And as you can see, I lost all my HPs at the beginning of the game. When you don't lose all your HPs, try to spot aggressively for your team without necessarily taking a lot of risks in order for you to spot, but try to spot, and as soon as you don't have any HPs left, play it like I did. Camp in the back behind a bush or something and wait for the right occasion to be able to circle and spot for the rest of your team. That's what you do, and if you do that, you should have good stats with the Bulldog. If you enjoyed that review, feel free to subscribe, like, and share, and I'm gonna see you soon for a new video. Au revoir.